We're already 5 minutes late, but for us, that's on time.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to our show. We have gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the multiverse, two of the nerdiest geeks to be found. We proudly present the Professor and her geeky girlness herself, Ace. And now it's time. GeekyKOOL presents Professor and Ace.
Hey everybody, welcome to GeekyKOOL presents Professor and Ace, episode 90. So, I know, right?
We're only 10 away from 100.
I know, we'll be in triple digits before we know it. Today, we're glad to welcome our good friend Tim down below here from the Nerd Informants, our distinguished competition, as I like to call them. And I do that lovingly because we do different things, but they're
much more successful than we are.
Well, you know, that's gonna change. We're gonna take them.
Yes. One of these days, we'll have time to focus.
Focus? What's that? Something this ADD guy does not know. All right. So, but we do actually want to focus today, talk a little bit about all the announcements that happened over last weekend at D23. And so we may not cover them all because there's a lot of stuff out there. But what I wanted to do is cover what things we're excited about, what things we're really not excited about, and kind of talk about things in general. And if we missed something, I apologize. There's a lot of articles and a lot of information out there about everything that was announced. So if we missed your favorite, of course, if you've got a favorite you want us to talk about, make sure to add the comment in the comment section so we'll make sure we grab that and talk about it. Even if we're just kind of about it, we'll be glad to talk about it.
Listen, that's the beauty of pop culture and movies and all this stuff, is because if I don't like something, doesn't mean you don't have to like it.
Exactly. And we're just going to give our opinions here. I mean, it doesn't mean something's going to be great or horrible just because we're either excited or we're not excited about it. So
no, but there are things that are going to be horrible. We're just going to throw that out.
Well, I'm hoping nothing's horrible. Maybe not your thing, but not horrible. We'll see. We'll talk about it. I know Tim is concerned about one in particular.
Yes.
It's not the only thing I've got prepared. So,
well, let's start with that. Why don't you lead off on what your thoughts are with that? Tell us about what that is and what your thoughts.
Well, you know, it's really something I've been excited and waiting for to actually take place since they made the initial announcement back at the beginning of this year that we are going to be taking a journey into the conclusion, if you will, of Tim Allen's The Santa Claus franchise.
Yeah.
And there he is right there in all of his what the crap am I looking at? Seriously,
it almost looks like the robot Santa Claus from the second one.
It really does.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. And I actually had a comparison shot of that. Let's see if it will pull up for me. But seriously, I don't know what's going on with his look there. I don't know what the issue is.
And maybe they'll clean that up. I mean, they got a lot of time before it comes out for some special effect cleanup and stuff. I don't know.
But, I mean, let's see. He looks like the Martin Short version and the toy Santa version had a love child together. And that's the result that we're seeing now. And I don't like it. Like, seriously, it's a really... I'm very passionate about the Santa Claus films. It was my favorite Christmas movie as a kid. It's remained a true classic through my adult years. I mean, to say it's inspirational is an understatement, as I've taken on the role of Santa Tim for the last several years.
Sure, yeah.
Tim Allen's The Santa Claus is truly one of the staple Christmas movies in my life every holiday season. And I loved one. Number 2 was fantastic. Number 3, they had some issues. They went into production too quickly. The script wasn't ready. The actors weren't ready. The designs weren't ready. they went back and reshot like half the movie because they didn't like the way Martin Short looked as Freeze, and they didn't like the way Elizabeth Mitchell looked as Mrs. Claus. Like they put her in a fat suit,
Right.
Initially, and filmed like a bunch of the movie, and they put Martin Short's Freeze. Like if you guys have the opportunity to go back and look, he's got a character design that almost makes him look like a toy.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
What you would imagine a Jack Frost action figure would look like. And
Well, that way they can make the action figures and go, look, it looks just like him.
Exactly. So Disney was trying to monopolize on the Transformers universe by making toys into cartoons. So here's what the big issue is for me: is he looks weird. He doesn't look like he's supposed to be looking. It's bothering me quite a bit. Just the overall design. Now I'm hoping that the short beard and the weird looking nose and because he does not look like that. I mean, he does not have the big bushy beard. His cheeks aren't rosy and kind of full.
Right.
It's not the way I want him to look as the Santa Claus. That's not the Santa Claus look that I grew up with. And so I'm hoping that that's going to work into some part of the storyline, because we know he's supposed to be retiring. He's looking for his replacement. That's the synopsis for the show. So maybe a de-Santification type thing is supposed to be taking place. I don't know.
Here's the thing with that. Why is he retiring?
Yeah.
Like the other Santa was Santa for, they said, over 100 years.
Yeah.
Why is Calvin retiring now?
Because he wants some time with his wife without having to worry about toys.
He works like he loves being at the North Pole with his wife. Like,
well, and there's just so many unanswered questions, and Disney is not being very translucent and transparent about what it is that they've got in store here. We know based on early announcements that Cal Penn is supposed to be coming in and is the main runner for the Santa Claus role, but I don't know how I feel about that. That's the other thing that's kind of been rubbing me the wrong way. I love Cal Penn. He's a great actor. He's hilarious. I've watched almost everything I can think of that he's ever been in, and so I absolutely love Cal Penn as an actor. This is nothing against him personally. I just don't see him as being the actor of choice to take on the legacy of Santa Claus.
Right.
But given back in the day, back in the 90s, they probably wouldn't have thought Tim Allen would have been Santa Claus. I mean,
that's true.
I mean, the dude's got a felony record. So, I mean, it's kind of one of those situations where you look at the past and it's like, okay, they probably weren't crazy about him. So maybe I'm going to be proven wrong. I hope I'm proven wrong. But this is not the Santa Claus storyline I was hoping for. And that's the third and final point I'll make on this topic that I was passionate about, is that they're going down a rabbit hole that I don't think the fans want.
Right.
Everybody in their minds has had it in their heads since Santa Claus 1 that Charlie would take over the North Pole. Charlie would become Santa Claus. Yeah. And as of this moment, I have not seen any official confirmation whether or not Eric Lloyd will be returning at even a cameo appearance for this series. And if he's not there, I feel like they're missing out on huge potential for the storyline, but also it's going to disappoint a lot of fans if he doesn't show up.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
And so, that's the thing, is like, you would think that Charlie would be the one taking over. That would have been, that's the whole point of, the first movie and even the second movie. He really wants to just be up there and, that sort of thing. So
I agree, Mandy. That's a very good point.
So.
And I actually read an article this week that's going to be a huge plot hole. Like, I mean, does he have, in order for him to officially retire, does he have to fall off Cal Penn's roof? Is there a transfer of power through a handshake or a fist bump? Like, what's got to happen in order for Scott Calvin to no longer be Santa?
The Tooth Fairy has to be involved.
So, in the third one, it was the snow globe. I wish I'd never become Santa Claus at all, and, flashback, and he never becomes Santa.
Right.
So does that take place? I'm just very curious to see how they're going to do that, and they've not really explained it very well as of yet.
They have
And
not.
I get we're still a ways away from November and the release coming, but I'm
Not that
still
far,
worried.
though. It's really not that far away.
Mhm. Well, I don't think they took the fans into account with this one because you look at fandoms. There's not a huge Santa Claus fandom. I might be leading the pack by myself on that. But as far as the Santa Claus world and the Santa Claus franchise goes, I've been one of its number one supporters since I was 4 years old when it came out.
God,
So
I know, right? That's what he was talking about when he was a kid. That being like,
I know
oh,
you
I
guys
was
probably saw it in
way
theaters,
past
right?
adulthood.
wait, I saw it with my kids. I'm just throwing that out there.
Right, yeah.
So we'll definitely see what takes place. I mean, Disney in recent years, they haven't disappointed us too terribly much with things, especially with Disney Plus. They seem to be bringing out some hit series, but I truly wanted a conclusion for this franchise that was going to be worthy,
Right.
because Santa Claus 3 was definitely not it.
Right,
There was too much left to explore in the whole Santa Claus verse, and I'm hoping that we get to do that. That's been my hope as well. That somebody
Tim's
somebody
like,
would tell me and let me come take over, because I'd be a better Santa Claus, I can assure you, than Cal Penn.
You would be a great Santa Claus, Tim.
I agree with you. Like, I love Cal Penn, but I just can't see him as Santa Claus. Like, I can't see him taking on that role and it being what anyone wants.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not putting anything against him. I'm sure he'll do his best at what he does because he is a really, really good actor. But it's really hard to just picture that.
Yeah.
How that's gonna work.
It feels like an awkward choice, and just based on his background and what he's been in previously. But who knows? Tim Allen was cast as the Santa Claus. I feel like the big lead in there was due to the success of Home Improvement right away.
Right.
I mean, he became one of the number one television family mans and dads out there, and that was the allure. Bring in a comedian, but also bring in the family guy that could play that role as the Santa Claus.
Right.
Cal Penn has never been in a scenario, acting wise, whether movies or television, where he's had to play the family man, how to play the father,
Right.
and taking on a role like Father Christmas. I feel like you need at least a little bit of that behind there. So I'm really hoping that maybe Cal has done some dramatic changes to himself, and maybe he's a little bit more family friendly. But in my mind, all I can see is him going to find Harold and go to White Castle. So that's the only thing that keeps flashing back in my mind. And when's Neil Patrick Harris going to show up? So we'll see. But that's my biggest worry that I took away from D23.
Yeah. I agree with that. Like, the look of him is just, it's not right. He looks skinny. He looks not jolly whatsoever in the pictures that have been released. Like, his beard looks funny. His mustache looks funny. He looks plastic.
Mm-hmm.
He does.
And
there's just nothing jolly about the way he looks.
Yeah.
And I can only assume that that's on purpose for one of two reasons. One, it's for the storyline. But
right.
Two, I can see that Tim Allen say, okay, I'll come back, but only if we change this, and this. Because every time he's gotten in the Santa Claus suit, he's had an allergic reaction. And a lot of people are unaware of that he actually had some serious skin allergies and bad reactions to the original suit, but he powered through, and in years to come the suit got better, but from what I understand, it still was not very comfortable. So he may have requested there not be as much latex and prosthetics on his face in order for his skin to breathe a little better. And maybe that's why we're basically just seeing Tim Allen with a really sketchy looking beard. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wish the trailer would have given us a little bit more.
Right.
Maybe more than Peyton Manning?
On there. Yeah, I mean, other than Peyton Manning. Like, seriously.
They could have thrown in Tom Brady, too. I mean,
well, and I guess that was a point that I forgot to mention, but the Santa Claus universe has always been one that's set outside of our universe.
Right.
Okay, it doesn't exist within our reality because, to my knowledge anyway, I've never seen anything that directly connects it. You know, Tim Allen didn't walk by a television in the first movie and, you know, Bill Clinton's on the TV saying he's president or something, you know.
Right.
I just feel like that world's always been disconnected from ours, and in an alternate, you know, universe where Santa Claus and Tooth Fairy and Easter Bunny and all these mythical creatures work together.
Mm-hmm.
But we bring in a football player who does some great insurance commercials. I don't know if he's really the guy that you should have brought in to do a Disney series on Santa Claus.
Yeah.
It kind of took me out of it, and that was one of the other things that I immediately hated about the trailer, is that the disconnect was there almost immediately as soon as they showed Tim Allen looking the way he did, but it even furthered whenever they showed Peyton Manning. Who, don't get me wrong, I love Peyton Manning. He's a great football player. He's a funny guy. I enjoy when he's doing some stuff. But once again, he's infringing upon the Santa Claus reality that I've come to love.
Right.
And I don't think that the creators of this series took that into account when they were creating it.
Right.
So,
and I wonder if they were trying to, because football season is here. We just had, you know, the first week of football season, so now you've got people thinking football, so they're trying to you know, play to that maybe. But I don't know. I don't
know, but I just think
possible.
I just think to myself, like, don't. Just don't do that, because here's the thing: the Santa Claus, it stands alone. It is its own, like Tim said, its own like world, and it, you know, don't mix these things together. Don't mix our reality with the Santa Claus reality. I think it works better if you think to yourself, well, that's kind of like it is, but is it here or is it, you know, somewhere else? And there's no specific. There's specific time frames just on clothes and, you know, what popular toys are and that sort of thing. But there's no specific, like, this toy is the toy, you know, that sort of thing. There's no, like, Tickle Me Elmo from the past or Cabbage Patch Doll or anything like that. So you can't really determine when it is as well. And that was kind of the beauty of it.
Yeah, and that's an awesome point, actually, is that it kind of made the series timeless.
Right.
Because in the movies, until we got to the third one, we never saw Tim Allen with a cell phone.
Right.
Until, you know, he got transported back and, you know, was Scott Calvin, the successful businessman, and, you know, he had a smartphone. So, I mean, you're right. That's kind of the only thing that pops into my mind as far as what puts a date on the movies.
I mean, you can put a date on it a little bit by the mystery date and the Oscar Mayer whistle. Yeah. You can put a date on the parents that way a little bit, but it's still not to the point that it's so much like the toys that they're making in the toy shop are not specific to a certain time or anything like that. So
it's all very generic as far as what they were bringing out of the toy shop. So,
so I will tell you one thing I'm hoping from this movie or this series. I'm hoping we get a little more Bernard. I'm glad to see him back. But I'm really hoping that he discovers he wants to be a dentist. So.
Well, I'm very excited that David Krumholtz is returning as Bernard. He was one of the characters that I missed most about number 3. Him not being there.
They never explained
it. Really? He's barely in 2.
Yeah, yeah, and he was barely into, and they kind of made it seem like it's because he was aging out of the role, which he was.
Yes.
He's supposed to be playing an elf, and he was 30 by Santa Claus 3.
That.
Right.
There's ways to do that.
Yeah. So, but in the trailer, he looks good for the brief glimpse that we got of him, and I'm curious to see what he's been up to since he resigned as head elf.
Right.
What do elves do after they leave the North Pole? Like, do they become a dentist?
Well, that would be funny. I would love that.
That would be
So,
hilarious.
is there like an elf retirement home? After you hit like year 1,000, you get to go there, and
So,
so
I mean, like, I just don't. I hope that they bring in Charlie. I hope they bring in the whole family.
The
like
whole family, yes.
the family that's not at the North Pole. Like, I'm hoping that's. But
well, yeah. I mean, we got Liliana Mummy, not Money, Mummy, who played the little girl in the movies, and Judge Reinhold and Wendy Crewson, like that they helped make that series even more iconic.
They did
with their presence, and the fact that we lost a big chunk of all three of them in the third movie, and now I'm worried that we're never going to get to see them in the series. That kind of scares me and breaks my heart. And I do want to point out, Jason is right that David Krumholtz was doing numbers at the time, and I've actually looked into this because it always bothered me. But he was doing numbers. He was set to appear in a role in Santa Claus 3, but the scheduling conflicts wouldn't allow him to leave where they were filming at. So they had to resign his role, and basically they gave all of his content to Spencer Breslin, who became the new head elf. So unfortunately, Numbers, a great show. I'm glad he did it, but it also kept him away from playing Bernard in Santa Claus 3.
Right.
Well, I have been hearing, because I work with Tim, so I've been hearing about the disappointment of the look of Santa Claus since it was.
Well, what I as soon as I saw that trailer, I'm like, what in the world? And I'm like, is this the fake Santa from?
I know. I thought that. I thought maybe it's the fake Santa, and he's going out like he's put a better version of the fake Santa in, so he could go find a replacement. That's what I was thinking, but I don't know.
But interviewing Peyton Manning to take your role, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I'm with you. I'm a little disappointed in that. I'm hopeful that his look, that they're going to go in and CGI it, make it look better. Maybe this was just pre-CGI of what they're going to do because of all the makeup issues. That if they go in and do that, then maybe he'll look better. I don't know. And they've gotten a lot of feedback. And we've seen that with trailers when they get released sometimes, especially early on, that they're not done with that and they'll go in and make something look a lot better, especially when fans go, what? That looks terrible.
Look at what they did with Sonic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We saved Sonic.
We did.
Wow.
I mean, they don't have as much time because Disney is not going to postpone it as long as they postpone Sonic.
Right.
They're going to get it out. But Disney also has people who can work around the clock to do this.
They do.
Right. So.
They do. So we'll be hopeful on that. Okay. All right, AJ, what would you like, good or bad? Tell us what you're thinking on one.
So, one of my favorite movies growing up is becoming a series as well. And it is a fantasy. If Dakota would have been a girl, his name would have been Allura. Because of this movie, it is one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's Willow. And they are making it into a series. And this scene here made me so happy. I mean, it made me a little sad as well, because it's just one of the brownies that we came to know and love. But just the fact that they're bringing back these characters, and not just the characters, but the species, like the brownies.
Right.
It's just so much fun.
Well, and we get to see where they live now.
Yes,
so, I mean, that's
they're not
awesome.
they're not just running around kidnapping babies from
right,
They
exactly.
kidnapped their baby. I'm just super excited about it. I will say that I really did enjoy the trailer. There were a couple things that I'm like, but you know, it's so much further in the future than Willow. And
Right,
everything,
right.
but I did like it. I wish the trailer would have shown Mad Mardigan
Yep, yep.
because you know, and there's everybody's talking about it, like he's going to be in it and all this stuff. But I wish they would have shown it. I wish they would have given us just even a shadow of a glimpse of him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I'm really excited about it. I think it looks really good, and it's the same thing with Tim with the Santa Claus. That was like one of his go-to like movies when he was a kid. Willow, I was a little older, but still it was one of my go-to movies as a kid. And just super excited that they're going to expand this universe a little bit, and they're going to give us, a series where we get to see stuff, and the people that have come back for it, and they're like the original people. That's a huge statement in itself of how much they love the characters they played in this movie, because this was a really long time. We won't talk about how
it was
long
just the other day. It was
it
just
was
the other
just
day.
the other day. It was before Tim was born. We'll just throw it out there like that. But
Wow.
and I know, right? And the fact that they've gotten all these people to actually come back for these roles, even the smaller roles, like the brownie, like literally
Right,
small.
right. Literally smaller roles.
It's what I do. But it's so much fun. And I am actually so excited about it because I think it looked really, really well done. And that was what I was worried about. Like when you take something iconic, as we just talked about with the Santa Claus and Scott Calvin as Santa Claus, when you take something iconic and you redo it, you can make it look really bad and people will not be happy with you. But I feel like the characters really look like how I would expect them to have aged.
Right.
And the world looks like how I would have expected it to age as well, which is really important to me.
Well, this was a movie that I loved when it came out. I actually went out on a date, took a girl to the drive-in. That was our first date together. We'd been friends before. Took her to the drive-in to see Willow, and she didn't like it at all.
Wrong girl.
That was our one date. We had one date.
It's like, you don't like Willow, sorry.
Like, yeah. Well, and she's like, I don't think this is working. I'm like, yeah, no, neither do I. Yeah.
Seriously.
If you didn't think this was amazing, I think we're done. So that's okay.
Yes, is Willow a little cheesy? Yes. Are the trolls a little? Yes, but it's so much fun. I don't. Yeah. No.
Ron Howard directing.
Yes.
Steven Spielberg produced. Lucas produced also, I think, and then I love that movie. I think, but I'm so super excited because Willow is the hero's journey.
Yes.
And now we get to see what happened to the hero that developed 30 years later, and he looks like a bad man.
He looks like he is now the go-to.
Yes.
Like he
exactly.
is the go-to. Like, you need magic done, you go to Willow.
Right. No longer throwing acorns at people.
Turn you into
and doing a little sleight of hand. Right.
God. He has
done. Yeah.
Where did she go? Oh, sorry.
Willow, change me, Willow. Tim's going, I don't know if I've ever seen this movie.
What?
What? Oh my gosh.
I've seen it once.
Disney Plus.
Yes, you'll have to watch it before the series comes out.
You can watch it with us. Because if you watch it with people that love it, then you love it more. It's just the way things work.
It actually is true.
Josh
a horror movie.
showed it to me for the first time just a couple of years ago.
Well,
So
you hadn't seen it for a couple.
yeah, I hadn't seen it until a couple
because,
years ago.
I mean, it was really old when Tim was born. I mean,
I don't care. My kids saw it. I educated my kids on nerddom.
I try.
I know your kids resist. Your kids are like,
I know. I don't know why that is.
it's because you named them after superheroes.
But, well, that's true. They do like superhero movies, though. They do like those with me.
There better be a disappearing pig. Yes.
I agree. I agree completely, Mandy. We've got to see that at some point, playing a reference. I'm super excited for this movie or for this series. I since it was announced, I'm like, oh my gosh! Finally, we're going to get a sequel of some sort for Willow.
Yes.
Willow seems to be the forgotten fantasy movie of the 80s that was just amazing, and now it's getting what it deserves. It getting some love. So
I agree. So that's the one I'm the most excited about.
yeah, I get that. Yeah, that's a really good one. That's actually where I was going to go, but that's okay. I'm going to go with one that I'm not excited about, but it's not why everybody else is upset about it. I am not excited about a Little Mermaid movie. And it has nothing to do with her skin tone. It has nothing to do with her hair. Her voice sounds amazing.
She has an amazing voice.
Right. So if you're going to do it, that's fine. But I don't need Disney to remake every animated classic
ever. Yes.
into a live-action movie. I did not watch Beauty and the Beast, which I love that.
Was really good.
And I've heard that. I didn't watch any of these because I don't need it. I've seen the movie. I didn't watch Aladdin, but it has nothing to do with the actors or what I think is going to It's the fact that you're not even telling a different story. It's the same story, just with live action people. Stop it.
Except for Lady and the Tramp, because they changed that.
Oh, did they? I didn't even know they was a
Not
Lady
in a
and the
good
Tramp.
way.
Oh,
Not
that's
in a
too.
good way. Listen, I agree with you. I think she's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, the costumes are great. She's beautiful. Hearing her sing, she has the voice.
Right.
I have no problem with her being the Little Mermaid.
Me either.
I have no problem with any of the casting. The problem I have is that they keep remaking. Just find something new.
Right.
Or tell the story like there was a Little Mermaid 2, and a lot of people don't know this, where Ariel and Eric had a daughter named Melody.
Who wanted to go back to the sea.
Yes. So if you're going to do that, then just tell a new story. Like her story in a new way, like when she's older, or maybe her, like Ariel's granddaughter. Like do something different and tell a different story, not exactly the same story. I get it, and I am one of those people who I'm like, I don't have a problem with the diversity.
Right.
Mandy, shut up. Listen, Mandy, I don't actually mind it, and I think that if they would have just done like the princesses as live action, I don't think I would mind it as much. But they've done Dumbo and they've done Lady and the Tramp, and like, just stop already. Like,
are we getting like the Fox and the Hound next? I mean, come on, let's just stop it.
Well, we did the Lion King. They did the Lion King.
I know, and I didn't see that. But then I'm like, it's not even real live action, because what are you doing, bringing in a real lion? No.
Like live action,
but
it's PG. Like,
right.
Let's call it what it is. It's still another computer animation. It's just a
exactly
computer animation, which is fine. But then there was also the Lion King 2, which was my son's favorite, with Scar's son.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He loved that one. Nobody knows about that one. If you're going to do a live action Lion King, do the Lion King 2 with like a different story.
Let's just not do Lion King 1.5. I don't need that.
What are you laughing at, Tim?
Oh, I had forgotten about Lion King 2. I remember watching that, but then it occurred to me I couldn't remember what Scar's son's name was. And the first thing that popped in my mind was like, was his name Scab? Like, Scar's son is Scab. but that's not it.
That's too
So
funny. That is too funny, Tim.
had a long day.
I understand that.
So, I honestly I haven't even watched the trailer for The Little Mermaid. I'm sure I'll be fine with it. The only thing I'm upset with is that they didn't call me and cast me as Prince Eric, because that's the role I was born to play.
It's
We all
true.
know it.
The Santa Claus and Prince Eric, they could have fixed all the problems right here.
I'm just saying that
Could
I could have brought it to life.
I could have been the old guy that yes.
By the way, Scar's son was Kovu.
That's right.
There you go.
Like the little mohawky thing. Dakota wanted that.
Yeah.
So not Scab.
So Mandy,
that's the story I want.
We just answered the Scab. That's the grandson, Scab.
But yeah, no.
See, thank you, Mandy. Yeah. See, people are already on board. The movement has begun.
We should have, if we could have done it earlier, we could have got a petition out there for it, Tim. But it's a little late now. They've done filmed.
No, wait. What is one that they haven't done? Snow White. They haven't done Snow White yet. So you could be Prince Charming.
We've done so many versions of Snow White.
I know they are.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yes, but we haven't got Disney's remake of Disney's Snow White.
Mandy, taking the fork to the hair.
Mandy, I'll be Flounder. It's fine. We'll hang out. It'll be good.
That there is a dingle hopper.
Dingle hopper.
What do you do with it? You brush your hair.
Well, I was just going to say to kind of jump back on the train of why are they making the certain animated films that they are back to back. What's upsetting me is that they're doing the ones that really you can't really improve, upon what took place. Aladdin was perfect as it is. Will Smith was great as the genie, but the perfection of Robin Williams as the genie is unmatched. Don't touch it. Why would you even bother doing an Aladdin live action? It was pointless. They shouldn't have touched it.
It's called making money.
It is. But Disney has got a catalog that's so impressive with films that I think would be beautiful as live action films.
Hercules,
I would love to see that because there's so many things you can do with that story. The only thing that I would request is James Woods actually play the live action Hades. As long as he's there, as long as James Woods is Hades, and as long as Danny DeVito plays the live action Phil, you can cast whoever you want and everything else. But those two have got to stay the same.
We've got to have the singers, though. If you're going to do that, you have to have the background singers because they make the movie.
But that's the thing. You have the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
We have had movies about it, but they were horror movies, back in the day. But if you're going to do it through Esmeralda's point of view, which is what that is, a little bit more, like it talks about Esmeralda and not just, Quasimodo, then you do that. I agree with that, Mandy, that Disney's ruined perfectly good fairy tales. I mean, let's face it. They've PG'd a lot of fairy tales because the true fairy tales are scary.
Well, Mandy, I don't know if you've seen Thor: Love and Thunder, but Hercules does show up, but it's probably not the same version.
No, because that is definitely not the same version of Zeus. Although it's way more realistic to what the mythology of Zeus is.
You're not going to be invited to the orgy.
Which is a Zeus thing to say.
Very much so.
I mean, there's a reason. And the only problem I had with Hercules, the cartoon, was the fact that they made Hera the loving mother.
Right. And definitely not.
Hated him.
Right. Well, as she did all of Zeus's half-breed children, which were half of Greece was born from Zeus, right?
Zeus or Poseidon. I mean, that's why we have Percy Jackson, which is also something that is coming out. Is the Percy Jackson series.
Right. I was very much hoping that we would get a trailer or a teaser or something for Percy Jackson.
We did.
We
So,
got a teaser. We did get a teaser.
Yeah, we got a teaser.
Did we get a
That's all we
teaser?
got, but we
Yeah.
did get a teaser. Let me open the shot of it.
And here's the thing with it. I like the look of it because they're younger. Like, I had no problem with them making it into a movie, but Percy Jackson in the books is like 11 years old.
Right,
Not
right.
15. Or 16 or 17 or whatever age it is. They're kids. And but yeah, no, we did get a teaser, Tim, about it. And it does look good.
I must have completely missed that. I mean, I saw the cast photo that they put out.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, just as far as, once again, the live action movies, they need to stop doing the fairy tales. The fairy tales are good as they are, most of them, you know. The one I'm excited about the most that they've actually announced was Lilo and Stitch.
Oh.
They have announced that's got a director. No casting on anything else yet or anything like that. But man, I really want to see the live action Lilo and Stitch because that has so much amazing space potential. And Stitch's origin story of landing in Hawaii and finding Lilo, that can pretty much stay the same. But, I mean, they've got so much to pull from. The Disney animated series, the other movies that came out, the comic books. There's tons of Lilo and Stitch material that they can pull from. The other one is Treasure Planet. I want to see Treasure Planet, and I want to see Atlantis, the Lost Empire, brought to live action. They've talked about doing Atlantis for years, and it's just never happened. I'm hoping that someday that actually becomes the case.
And see, that's the thing. They have all these cartoons that would lend themselves so well to live action. And
exactly.
You take Dumbo and The Lion King and Lady and the Tramp, which they're cartoon animals, okay? And then you're going to CGI animals, which
exactly.
is let's take these other shows that are, you know, I think underrated or forgotten, like the Lost, like yeah, I just can't. I agree.
The Black Cauldron. The Black Cauldron. That's the one they need to make.
I watched that as a kid, and I didn't like it then. And then it hit Disney Plus, and I go, you know what? I'm going to give this another shot. Nope, still bad.
See, I don't think it's bad. It's just very dark and very, very different from. And of course, that was kind of Disney's dark period where they weren't hitting on a lot of stuff. But I think that's actually a really good story that would be interesting to make into a movie. But I'm just on the bandwagon of if it's already a good movie animated, leave it alone. Just don't touch it.
Yeah.
Lilo and Stitch. I know you're except for Lilo and Stitch, Tim, but I'd be like, just leave it alone. That thing's perfect the way it is.
I'm excited for Lilo and Stitch if they don't just do the same story as the cartoon. I want them to expand it. I want them to show more of Stitch beforehand or more of what happens after or something. I don't want it to be just he crashes, she finds him, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't want it to be the same story. I want it to be expanded. And they have enough, like you were saying, Tim, they have enough material from Lilo and Stitch. They have the animated series, which was funny. They have the comics. They have all this stuff. They could totally do an expanded and, you know, maybe you do Lilo and Stitch and Lilo is grown up.
You see, and that's honestly what I would love to see. Somebody posted like a fan story on Reddit or something like that, where basically after Lilo graduates from college, she is brought in by the Intergalactic Space Force or whatever.
Right.
And brought in, and her and Stitch become like intergalactic officers.
So I would watch that in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. That should be a series. If that's the pitch, I'm in. If it's just going to remake the classic movie, I'm not so excited about it. But if you're going to make a story like that, Tim, I'd so buy in.
Stitch was my favorite cartoon character because it was like an alien Scooby-Doo. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like that's what I felt like it was. It was an alien Scooby Doo, and I loved Scooby Doo as a kid. So Lilo Stitch was just an addition, and I loved it. And frankly, Disney did not give it enough oomph. Yeah, it got a couple sequels and it got the Disney series and stuff, but really, I kind of felt like it was always kept on a back burner, and I don't know why.
Right.
Well, I just think it was the time that it came out. Like I
What's
think
that?
I think it was at the time that it came out. It just Disney was in that lull as a company when Lilo and Stitch came out. And I think that's where I think it just is. Unfortunately, was one of those movies that could have gotten a bigger push if it was at a different time, but it just wasn't the right timing. And they've tried, and Stitch is still considered one of the most popular characters in Disney. You can go to any bookstore or any like collectible store, and you'll see like Lilo and Stitch everywhere.
Oh yeah,
And so it's still considered really popular. It's just it's kind of one of those cult classics, but in a Disney form, because a lot of people when it first came out were like, "Oh, this is cute," but it didn't get that like Beauty and the Beast push and everything. But Beauty and the Beast,
Beauty and the Beast was very beautiful, and the music was perfect. Lilo and Stitch were a couple. It was fun. There were a couple of misfits. And so I related so much to Lilo, I was like, oh my gosh. It's like a female version of myself there. I love it. I think
that what was great about Lilo and Stitch is because Lilo is such a younger, she's not a princess age. She's a kid.
Right.
And she still have that imagination. And like she, you see that how she relates to Stitch is because of that imagination. And I think that's good. But I agree. I think it'll be good if they can actually expand on it, and not just
in Lilo's sister, I love the fact that her body wasn't perfect. She was well.
I had such a crush on Nani. Oh my god!
I understand, but if you look at the typical princess look, her body is not that perfect princess look.
Well, she's got surfer legs, so
she has surfer legs, which I always thought was
legs, and she's got those hips, which is good for like balancing and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, they were finally thinking outside the box with Lilo and Stitch and the way they were drawing some of the characters. So, but yes, all right. So back to talking about the announcements that were made. Tim, was there anything else you wanted to point out that you were excited about, not excited about?
Well, we finally got confirmation. Switching gears to Marvel Studios. We finally got confirmation that Matt is going to be directing Fantastic Four.
Right.
It's a step in the right direction,
yes.
But that's the exciting half, but the disappointing half is that we still don't have a cast announcement.
We do not.
And it's bumming me out that we don't know who's going to play these roles. And I think that it needed to be done in a way at an event like D23 or San Diego Comic-Con for them to announce who the Fantastic Four is, because I honestly don't believe that we're going to see John Krasinski coming back as Reed Richards. I think that was just the Reed Richards of that world, that universe. I would love to see him come back. Don't get me wrong. I would absolutely love that. But I don't think that's the direction they're going to go for this next sleeve. Now, if it is, awesome. But if it isn't, they really need to do it during an event so Kevin Feige or the director or producers, whoever's available, can actually explain to the fans why they decided to go the direction that they did.
So I think that they're going to go younger just to be able to use them longer.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they may announce that in December when they've got their big board meeting. They put all the announcements out and that whole thing. So a couple comments here. Mandy, I wasn't saying she was not good looking, Mandy. I was saying the Disney perfect figure for most of the princesses, she doesn't fit that, which I find wonderful because that body style is not my favorite. So, and Keith had this to say, which We'll have to hear that story at some time, Keith. That's fascinating. I did not know that.
Oh.
So, all right.
So, I'm excited to see when that announcement's going to come. We got New York Comic Con, which in the past Marvel has always given us a little something there.
They have.
But I don't think that they were going to. If they were going to do the cast announcement for Fantastic Four, I think it was going to have to be at D23. So we're probably going to have to wait now until at least next year's San Diego or next year's D23. Because that's a big announcement. That's something that they want to make a presentation of, and I don't think they're just going to post it to Facebook one day.
Right.
No. They're gonna Disney is gonna take it for all it's worth.
So. I think there's a lot of Marvel announcements that we're excited at D23, at least in my opinion.
So
Keith,
I agree with Keith on this. Like there were some announcements, okay, for Marvel. However, not the ones that I was expecting per se, and not as big as I was expecting them to go. Like it was very much, we got Matt, okay. There was already rumor that he was going to be doing that. So it was just confirmation, but we don't have any of the cast, like you said. We got, Secret Invasion. We got a few, but we didn't get, it was very minute in the details of these things on a lot of stuff. And I feel like that's, I wanted it a little bit more.
Well, all I can say is if you don't have the perfect cast yet, don't rush it. Get that perfect cast. Get it to where you've got the cast for the Fantastic Four that's going to make them a key part of the Marvel Universe going forward. That's my feeling on it. But
I agree with you, but do you really think Disney doesn't have the cast yet?
I don't know. So talking about announcements, there was a trailer for a Marvel movie that has me excited.
Yeah? What?
Werewolf by Night. Did you guys see this trailer?
Mm-hmm.
I did. And so from what I understand, it's going to be a Halloween special.
Right.
But the part in the trailer that I'm most excited about is not the Werewolf by Night. It's the character who you see in the background.
Uh-huh.
Man-Thing! Super excited about Man-Thing. But again, we didn't get enough. Like, they didn't give us enough. And here's the thing with this. This is coming out, what was it, October 7th?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, October 7th. So this is coming out soon. I think they should, with the things that are coming out sooner, I think they should have given us a little bit more since they're not giving us, a lot of detail for things that are further out. I think they should have given us a little more.
I kind of liked what they did here because you've teased me enough to know that I want to watch this without telling me what's going to be happening.
I know,
and you made it look like an old monster movie, and I was so in. I'm like, okay.
I'm obsessed with the whole vintage look of this,
yes,
old movies. I think it will, but I'm hoping that it actually turns out to be like that throughout the whole thing. As I'm afraid, when they do that weird thing where in movies where they're like part of it looks vintage and the other part doesn't. I don't like that. Like if you're gonna go full on Werewolf by Night, vintage, like monster movie, then you just do it. And it's gonna be a comedy, and it's gonna be for Halloween special. I think that's the time you can do that and get away with it, and I think it will work. Like you could never do. I don't think you could do it successfully. I would go see it, but I don't think you could do it on the big screen, and I don't think you could do, you know what I mean, like that sort of thing. I think there's too many people who do not like that noir, like black and white film kind of grainy thing going on.
You know I hate noir.
I know you do. His favorite thing. He loves noir. Oh my God. Every time we do a list, there's a noir. every time.
What can I say? The
Well,
40s were a really good time for noir.
Every time. Well, but you pick at me in the 50s, and you're like, just throws back. Just
Well, if
throws
I
back.
find them, yeah.
But no, I'm super excited about Man Thing, though.
Yeah, Man Thing. There's all sorts of rumors of who all is going to show up in this. That we can have a lot of characters show up that will be a part of the greater MCU and be making other returns. So, but Man Thing will be great. Which some people know Swamp Thing from DC, but know that Man Thing actually came out 6 months before.
Yes.
Man Thing is older than Swamp Thing, guys. Just so you know.
A little bit different kind of character too.
Very different kind of character.
You know, it's not just like they have similarities, and you know, there's Swamp Thing and Man Thing, and so a lot of people think they're like counterparts for each other, but they're really not as much as people think they are.
Right. And I always love in the comics when Man Thing would show up like in Spider-Man. You'd be like, "What in the world? We got Man Thing and Spider-Man. That's crazy." So yeah.
I just hope that means Man Thing's going to be in more.
I'm hoping so.
Not just this.
I agree. So we've got some comments here. There was a lot of announcements. I don't know. I didn't feel let down, but okay, I get it.
Keith, you and I are on the same page because I said that right before we came online. How does anything move? I don't know. So here's the thing with it. That's kind of what my disappointment was. One of my disappointments with this day of announcements and this, you know, is the MCU let me down. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, there were parts of it that I got really excited about. But I agree. Usually they give you something to really look forward to as, like, you know, an end game. See what I did there? I cracked myself up. There was nothing. It's all very individualized, and I'm not sure how they're all coming to, like, parts of it you can see, but I'm not sure how everything's going to fit together. And yes, we never knew how everything was going to fit together with Marvel, like the first phase, you know, like we never, but we didn't realize at the time that there was an end game. Now that we know that everything is planned so far out, give us a little bit more.
Maybe they want to keep their cards to their chest. It doesn't surprise me.
You know what? They want to make sure that they don't make a royal mistake. That's what they want.
Right.
Sure.
That's probably true.
And honestly, that's my biggest worry with them jumping forward and going ahead and announcing the beginning of Phase 6 with Fantastic Four and Kang Dynasty and Secret Invasion or Secret Wars. I'm sorry. And, you know, I just... so much can change. Remember back when we were supposed to have an Inhumans movie? Boy, those were the days. But we didn't get that.
Instead, we made a bad
TV
ABC
show
series. It
was really bad. It was like they played it on the IMAX too, though. Like, we played it on the IMAX, like when it came out.
It was a disappointment.
The dog was really cool.
I love the Inhumans, like, comics. I do. But this was not that.
No.
Well, they tried to save it with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and, you know, by expressing, you know, the Inhuman storyline that was there. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think overall I was disappointed at D23 by the Marvel Studios showcase. Okay, we got the Secret Invasion trailer, we got Werewolf by Night trailer, but, you know, people who were there, they got to see some teasers from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. They got to see something from the Marvels. We didn't get that, and I feel like maybe they'd at least thrown us a bone by giving us those as well. Maybe we would have felt a little bit different, but they've got so much stuff in the works right now. The fact that they didn't have more to show us worries me.
Well, oftentimes if they do that, they'll put a trailer out somewhat soon because you're getting footage that gets leaked anyway, so they don't want they want you to watch their trailer, not to leak footage.
But here's my problem with that. They know this. And they would have been better off if they would have done it themselves all at the same time, if that's how they're going to go. Because now it's just all these rumors and these people who actually got to see these things and what they're saying. And it's better to just own it and just put it out there. If you're going to show it to some people, just put it out there, because it's going to get around, and they need to. And here's what we've said. I've said this so many times on the show, is that entertainment movies are a business, and Disney is king of that business. They are top of the food chain in that business. They just are. They own everything almost. And with that being said, to me, them not putting out things that they already had done, teasers, trailers, that sort of thing, I feel like it missed the mark. And that's kind of one of the reasons that people like Keith and myself are feeling a little let down. I'm not let down by the whole thing. I think some of the non-MCU things that they put out there, super excited about. It's the MCU aspect of it that, like Tim said, the showcase of MCU was a little...
Yeah.
That's why we talk about this. Yeah. Maybe it was just the fact that I was trying to post every trailer.
Yeah.
And my head was spinning with trailers to post.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and they did some. I mean, they did. We haven't even hit on like some of the things that they announced and stuff. But yeah, right. It's one of those things.
Well, we're probably not going to get everything. Mandy's got a couple comments, and then Keith's got one here too. Mandy, love you, girl. That's awesome, because I'm right there with you. And Ace loves vintage movies too. So she likes some noir, but not as much as I do. I just love a good noir.
Listen, I love all vintage movies. Professor loves vintage movies with a particular love for noir. So
I like vintage movies that aren't noir also.
Yes,
but I do have a propensity towards noir. Yes, I do. Ever since I saw Maltese Falcon, I've been just in love with him.
It's all Humphrey Bogart's fault.
Humphrey Bogart. Bogey was the man. That's all I can say. Bogey was the man. All right.
I love you.
Swamp Thing, Man Thing, then just get Thing.
Listen, they ran out of names.
They did.
Listen, Keith, I think that the MCU's been doing a really good job on their TV shows. For the most part, I have really loved most of their TV shows. And I'm excited about where it's going, but I just wish they would have given us a little bit more. I just want a little bit more taste, because I feel like a lot of it, I do agree with Tim. I think they're pushing out too far, and they're trying to make people focus on too many things. And I think it would have been smarter to not let everybody know, because now we're looking for those things. So how is this going to tie into Kang, and how is this going to do this? If they would have not announced everything, or a lot of things going years into the future, people aren't going to be disappointed by the things that they do announce. But hindsight's 20/20.
Well, and we really had no idea how the Thanos thing was going to play out, even after we got the glimpse of Thanos in Avengers.
Exactly.
It still took many years for that to come to fruition.
Yes.
But
we got the
a lot of the movies we didn't know, we had no idea that the second Thor movie was going to tie in at some level. We had no idea the things that did tie in that were going to. So, I don't know.
But see, that's the problem, though, Professor, is this far in, we should know. See, but if they wouldn't have announced that Kang was the big bad, if they wouldn't have announced that, we wouldn't be talking about this. Right. So, and that's the thing with the other phases that we've already watched and we already love. They didn't let us know these all were connected until they all started connecting, and then we're like, oh my God, what is this? Oh my, this is Avengers, that sort of thing. and then you know where it's going, and then you see this glimpse of Thanos, and you're like, oh, is Thanos the big bad? Like, you know,
Right,
but they didn't
right.
tell you this. They've told us this, and so now we're all
Right.
just like, bring it in.
Yeah, I'm just going to let things build. Plus, this is kind of the round of we're getting new heroes and older heroes are transitioning out. And I think that's fine. I think that had to be done. So,
Well,
I mean,
they age out. Like, I'm sorry, they do. It's just how it is. See, I disagree with you a little bit there, Keith, because I am excited about some things. But I do agree with the MCU. I feel like I was disappointed with it. Not in every aspect. There were things that I really enjoyed thinking about, but yeah. So
well, all I can say is I'm enjoying She-Hulk tremendously.
She-Hulk is funny.
I know people are hating on it. People are saying all sorts of things. Somebody had made the comment about, you don't see Batman up there shaking his butt like She-Hulk. And I'm like, dude, have you read a She-Hulk comic book? Because they had her jumping rope naked.
Okay, and here's the thing with it. I actually had a conversation with somebody who was like, well, I don't like the way she breaks the fourth wall. And I was like, have you never read a comic book with She-Hulk in it? She does that.
All the time.
I tell people, I'm like...
She did it before Deadpool.
She did! And the thing with it is, I think it's because, and this is going to sound weird, and I'm not a feminist, like a Nazi feminist kind of person, but I think it's because she's a girl, because when Deadpool did it, it was fine, it was funny, it was like this, and now she's doing it, and it's like, oh, that's not how it's done. Like, no, that's exactly how it's done in her comic book. I think that it's done really well. I did love how they made her a Hulk. I thought that was great. Right. I thought the transition was like, oh, the blood just mixed together, and it's like, that's a quick, easy way of explaining how she's now a Hulk. And I thought that was, so you didn't spend your entire series on her origin story.
Right. Agreed.
I'm sorry, I'm so sick of origin stories. It's not even funny. Just tell me how they got their powers, and then let me see them go on adventures.
Well, in fact, she makes fun of that. She's like, oh, you're probably going to want to know this. But that's not really the important part. So, I
love Wong, so I'm just like...
Yeah, Wong is great. Wonger!
Wong and Madison made that last...
With the Y and two N's, but not where you think
it is.
I love She-Hulk because I love this kind of antics. For those that, if you don't know She-Hulk, the second series that happened, John Byrne was the writer and artist on it. The first cover has her... If you don't read... Here's your last attempt. Read my series where I'm coming to your house and ripping up all your X-Men comics. And she's holding an X-Men comic in her hand. That's how the series begins.
Like, she talks to the audience.
She does.
And she is well aware that there are people watching her do what she's doing. And she's like, oh, wait, hold on. And she'll stop in the middle of, like, whatever it is, and she'll talk to, and you have like 2 pages of her talking to you, the reader, and then it goes back into the whatever's happening in the comic. And this guy literally, like, he was like, well, I don't like that she does that. I think that's weird. And I'm like, it is, but it's perfect for her. Because that's how she's written.
And like I said, John Byrne at one time, one of the covers had her, something about making She-Hulk jump rope naked. And there's 2 pages of her jumping rope, and the ropes are just in the right place where you don't see anything as it's spinning around. And you're like, what in the world? But it's perfect.
Yep. So I didn't find, because of, I knew that about her, and I knew that about the comics, I didn't find the twerking in her office to be distracting.
I didn't either.
I thought it was funny.
I thought that's exactly what She-Hulk would do. I mean, I'm so in. So
yeah, she'd be like, okay.
Yep. Let's do it. Because doesn't my butt look good like this? Yeah. Whatever. I think it's great.
She-Hulk was obsessed with her butt as a Hulk. There were like actual times in the comic where that was a thing. She was like, yeah.
Now, if we did get a Madison and Wonger series, I'm okay with that too. That'd be great.
Oh my god, that would be so funny. Oh.
All right, so some more comments here. I understand, Keith. I know we disagree on this, and I love you, my friend. I have not been as disappointed. There are things in Phase 4 that have been disappointing to me, but I have enjoyed most of the series. I've enjoyed most of the movies for what they are. I did not hate any of the movies, even though I know there's been a lot of hate for them. So
I didn't hate any of the movies. I just was like, on a couple.
Some of them were like, yeah, right. I agree, Jason, completely.
I do like what they've done so far on a lot of stuff.
Well, yeah,
Literally,
I was a different guy back then, literally.
Made my husband so happy when he said that, because he's like, yes, they finally acknowledged that there was a different home. But
well, and I really enjoyed Thor: Love and Thunder. I don't know, and maybe I'm a homer. Maybe that's it. But it felt a little disconnected at points. But I still really enjoyed it. I had a great time with the movie. And the screaming goats. I mean, okay, that's all right.
The screaming goats made the movie.
And killing Zeus up there, and then at the end having Zeus still be alive. You're like, okay, that's cool.
God, unless
right.
He's just hurt.
Oh.
What do we have here? Wait, we have. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Didn't like Madison. What? You don't like Madison? I love Madison with a Y and 2 N's.
I just thought it was funny. Tim, how do you not know it? Tim's like, wait, that's not.
I'm going to say that has to be my hetero life mate.
I figured it was. Hey, Josh, if you want to come on, man, just let me know.
Oh, he's at work. Is he at work?
Okay, working. Mm-hmm. He's working it. Work it, Josh. Work it. All right. I think we're pushing over each other.
We're pushing over each other.
I love it. I agree, Jason.
I think Thor was fun. It was not what I wanted it to be. I was disappointed, but I just washed away all of my hopes and dreams for these movies. I've learned this in life. Just wash away all the dreams and hopes and just go into it and just enjoy what you get.
You know that's how I am with the new Lord of the Rings stuff. I mean, I
haven't watched that yet.
I'm enjoying it because I'm just like, man, something's set in this universe. I'm not bringing in expectations. I'm happy that there's something else there.
We have so many comments.
I know. People are no. I've got a lot of taste. I don't know what you're talking about, Josh. I look for a cheek. I can taste you that way.
Listen, Josh, I agree with Professor Madison with Wong. Hilarious.
I'd watch a series.
You know what I loved about it is, you know how many girls I know who are like that Madison.
Some of them even named Madison.
Yeah, I know. Yes, several of them are named Madison.
Now, I would be happy because Wong has been showing up in a lot of the movies and series and stuff. Let's make Wong and Madison show up in everything going forward. I would love that. Wait. Stan Lee.
I'm going to throw this up there because now he's saying no accounting for taste, AJ. Oh my gosh. So let's throw some of these comments up. I mean, I thought it fast forwarded the episode a lot, and
it's a blood transfusion in the comics that does it anyway. So
I didn't think that it was like a quicker let's get this going, and I like that it was an accidental thing, like it wasn't.
And he was trying to prevent it from happening. He did not want her to get infected with it. Yeah. Yes. I'll let you drive the comments, AJ.
Okay. Mandy just loves everything. She's just like,
I love it, Mandy. I'm with ya.
love Mandy. I agree with that. I agree with that. I think that it's probably one of, like, there were genuinely funny times in that, but I feel like it was, a lot of it was, let's try to be the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
And it didn't work.
Now, the Guardian scene was funny.
The Guardians, well, because it's the Guardians. So
I know, but I love the fact, like, okay, see you later. We're leaving now.
I love the fact when he's like talking to him and he's like, you know, when you have somebody you love and he's looking and Thor's just like, see, that was funny. But then when Thor's by him, like back to being by himself, it's just not, Thor's not, he's not Star-Lord. He's not that group. He's not that funny. Sorry.
But now, I will grant you, the last Thor movie was funnier. It had more humor to it. It was done better. But I enjoyed this one. I didn't think it was as good, but I did enjoy it. So,
I will say that I was like, why do they have this influencer like in there? But
and I will show my age. I had no idea she was an influencer. I thought she was a made-up character until I went and read about her.
I know, but I was watching it and Les knew who she was.
Tim probably subscribes to her account, but he's young enough that he would, you know, he's following her on TikTok.
Very well. Tim's like, no.
Tim's asleep down there. He's like, what?
Well, no, I was just going to add that.
Hi, Mandy.
Bye, Mandy. I think my biggest issue with Thor: Love and Thunder and some of the other content that's coming out recently is that it's done nothing to advance the Marvel narrative. And I think that's kind of what Keith was alluding to earlier, that we don't really know where this is going. And that's because the projects that have been released in recent year and a half or so, they've not been leading towards anything. They're just there. And I think we've reached a point in the MCU that Marvel Studios just needs to focus on building the narrative. Thor: Love and Thunder was fun. It had some fun moments. It was great getting to see, you know, Lady Thor in there. Jane Foster coming back was great. You know, Natalie Portman is amazing. But it didn't do anything to further
we don't know where
the overall storyline. So what's the point at this point? You know, when you have a world full of Avengers and a world full of superheroes, why are we just showing these guys one or two at a time? Why aren't we just seeing Avengers movies back to back to back now?
Because the Avengers really aren't together.
So,
but now you have enough of the young Avengers. You have enough of these other are we to expect, like, even Bruce says to She-Hulk, like, he says, well, now you're a superhero. So why are all these superheroes doing things single? They know that that's dangerous. They've lived through Thanos. They've lived through the blip. They've lived through all these. It's hard for me to understand. I do like She-Hulk because you get to see Wong and you got to see Bruce. And so it kind of gave you more, but there's so many that are just like, all by yourself, okay.
Well, no, that's how the comics are, though, right? Your monthly series, you have Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain America. You got all these characters individually, and then they come together to fight the big bads. They don't fight. You don't see the Avengers assemble for Doc Ock showing up. You let Spider-Man handle it.
Yeah.
So, to me, it makes sense. And I don't think we have to be building anything right now. We can be, this is kind of the new norm. Here's where things are going. These are individual stories. But before we know it, there will be things that will wrap from those different stories into a bigger thing, and we just don't see it coming. At least that's my opinion.
Which I don't mind if they wouldn't have put out that this is all leading up to something. Right. If they would have said all of these are leading up to something, then I have no problem with watching a movie or a series about comic book heroes, villains, whatever, that are one-offs. I actually enjoy them. I don't think they all have to connect. But if you're telling me that they all do connect, then this far in, they all need to start connecting a little bit more.
Well, and some of these characters are connecting in what Keith's talking about, the Thunderbolts.
Yes.
So a lot of these movies here or in series, there are characters showing up as a new team. Now I know that Keith's saying that he finds it to be a big disappointment. They didn't do anything more than show you the picture, but you know what? I'm not unhappy with that version of the Thunderbolts. It'll be interesting to see what they do since they don't have General Thunderbolt himself to lead them. So, and I don't necessarily consider some of these guys to be bad guys, but it's interesting. I don't know.
Why isn't that going no way? I'm like, I pushed it to go away.
Well, and I did push it back on, so I don't know. What do you think, Tim, of the Thunderbolts?
I don't know what the point is. It would have been great had they done the Thunderbolts back in, like, maybe Phase 2.
But they killed all the villains in Phase 2. That was the thing. Now you actually have people that are anti-heroes and villains that aren't dead because Marvel wanted to kill all the bad guys constantly.
That's true.
So,
and I didn't love that part, by the way.
And that's the other thing. Like, I get they want to create another group because, yes and no, the Avengers have for the most part disbanded. You know, obviously the ones that are still in existence are off doing their own little things.
Mm-hmm.
But why call them the Thunderbolts when the reason that they're called the Thunderbolts is dead? I mean, are they going to recast? Or are they going to recast?
I don't think so.
But
maybe that was part of General Ross's view because he actually did the whole Accords and everything else. So maybe this is a group that works through the Accords that he was trying to get together. So maybe you have that, and then you have him having a heart attack after he gets things organized, and you don't actually show him there. I don't know. I'm not sure how they're going to do it. It'll be interesting.
Well, I mean, it's just such a weird group
to
bring together. It's not, if they were going to do the Thunderbolts, it's not the characters that I would have picked. It's got a few of them. Like, I'm glad they're bringing back, Red Guardian. I'm pumped about that. I'm glad they're bringing back Ghost. But, at the same time, I'm just kind of bummed out by the character usage and why those
characters?
Why those characters? Exactly.
They could have picked different characters that we had not even seen before,
yes.
But talk about how they were captured by somebody off screen that we don't even know about. I mean, they could have done that.
I don't know what this was with Keith, but Keith, yes.
Yeah, I think he's probably dismayed that I don't hate it. So
I mean, we've got 3 characters coming in from the Black Widow movie. We got a character from Ant-Man and the Wasp who we've not seen in like 4 years as of this moment.
Right.
And then last we saw her, she was healed. Like, she didn't have her ghost powers anymore. Michelle Pfeiffer healed her at the end of that movie. So it's something. So are we going to get to see her in Quantumania? Is she coming back? We've not even heard if she's going to be there.
Right.
Sebastian Stan, I kind of felt like they were going to give him a worthy conclusion in Captain America 4. They were going to bring him in with Falcon and give him a proper conclusion to his character arc, because they really were heading that direction at the end of the Disney Plus series. But I really thought by the end of that film they could have, let Bucky Barnes go and, let him move on to the rest of the storyline.
I was not like, I love Bucky. I'm a huge fan of Bucky, but I was like, okay, how's he going to fit in now with that? Like, I don't know how they all fit together.
Well, the interesting thing I see is that you don't have any big power hitters.
No.
This team is more ground level, street level anti-heroes and villains. So I found that interesting. I'm like, who are they going to face? But you know what? I don't mind a group like that. You don't have to have Thor and the Hulk. You can have them fighting off whatever. I mean, it doesn't have to be.
Some of my favorite Avengers are not the powerhouses.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just how it is. Yeah. But I do agree with Tim. Like, I don't know how Josh, I don't know how they're all going to fit together. I'm not going to like say it's disappointing because I do actually like some of the characters that they have in Thunderbolts that they're showing in Thunderbolts. I like the characters separated. I don't know how they're going to work together as a team.
Which will probably be half the fun is trying to figure out how
Trying
they
to
work as
figure
a
out the
team.
team.
As long as we don't kill them all like a Suicide Squad, but
oh my god, that though cracked me up. Like we were watching it in the movie theater, and everybody's like, "Oh, this is such a cool team," and then they all die, and then everybody's like, "What?" And it's like that was Team B. Like you
there
bring
was a
in
distraction.
It was so disappointing. Tim, preach. Keep preaching, Tim. Your last name is Church.
That's true. And he's a minister, so there we go.
Yeah.
There you
go. I mean, it just kind of feels like with the Thunderbolts movie that they didn't know what else to do with these guys, and so they just threw them in a movie together.
And that's
so
possible.
maybe they've got a plan there once again, but once again, we don't know what the plan is because the movies aren't building to anything. They've been facing all these non-Avenger level threats that, Spider-Man was able to take care of his own situation, and it wasn't the end of the world, even though he had to bring in Doctor Strange to help him in the end. And a few other Spider-Men.
Yeah, right.
And, Ned, who might be a future sorcerer, and MJ, who didn't die. So
right. I'm just leaving this comment up just for the first part of it. Everyone should learn that.
You could just clip that and then show that to your husband.
I'm showing it to my boss.
Oh, well, that's true too, right?
AJ.
Well, I love the Loki series, so I don't know.
I love the Loki series. I'm a huge Loki fan, though. So seriously, Tom Hiddleston could like walk around and read the phone book, and I'd be happy with it.
Yeah,
So.
I feel the same way with ScarJo. So anyway, I can see that. Yeah.
Fine.
No, I think a lot of answers will be given when we finally get Quantumania. That's I feel. I mean, that's going to be the first true rival appearance of Kang.
Right.
So I really think that once we get that, we're going to start falling in line a little bit more.
Unless we see more of him in Loki 2, which is going to be coming out next season. So
that's true. So, but once again, I've got my worries with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania because. First of all, the leaked designs for MODOK look horrible. So that's already put me in a bad mood as far as that.
They just need to take them from the cartoon version on Hulu.
Exactly. But I want to see a comic book accurate MODOK.
That would be great.
It's not that difficult, and I want Patton Oswalt to voice him. Like
most definitely. Agreed 100%.
And of course, which really bummed me out whenever he showed up as Pip the Troll, as the voice of Pip the Troll. It's like, are you kidding me? So they're using him for Pip the Troll, but they didn't save him from MODOK? Like,
he could do more than one.
So it's true. I mean, he could. But I don't know. The future of the MCU seems so uncertain right now because we've not been building towards anything. And I kind of feel like a broken record saying that over and over again. But I just don't know what is next. And that bothers me as a fan and somebody who likes to track the lineage from the comics to see what direction they could be going and theorizing. But especially after the most recent movies that we've received, there's really no idea of what's going on. There's no idea on what Disney Plus characters are actually going to show up in the movies now. Like, I was really hoping we'd get some confirmation that Moon Knight was going to show up in like Blade. Like that's what I want more than anything is to see Moon Knight, Blade, and Black Knight together in a movie. I think that'd be great.
That would be great.
It'd be a perfect introduction to bring in Ghost Rider, and then I don't know, maybe do a little something called the Marvel Knights. That
God, so
I would much rather see Marvel Knights come to be than Thunderbolts at this point.
I agree with you on that. Speaking of Ghost Rider, so in She-Hulk, when
Oh my gosh.
Johnny Blaze was the. I swear I heard them say Johnny Blaze, and I'm like,
Me
wait,
too.
did they just make Ghost Rider a bad magician?
Like, I'm really hoping Donnie is just like Johnny's idiot cousin or something.
Well, I'm hoping we will see his cousin show up at some point, or whatever relation he is,
Yeah.
to just kind of say, "Huh, you're still doing your stupid magic antics?"
Yeah, right. I know, but when they said it, I was literally like, wait, did they just call him Johnny Blaze?
I thought the same thing.
I was like, no, and I was like, they did not just make Ghost Rider. He's like, did we see Ghost Rider as a magician?
Well, and I thought, well, somehow the other guy has to be some sort of demon lord who's going to make him into the Ghost Rider, or something. I mean, I was thinking all those things. So
I kind of agree with Keith on this. I feel like they have a plan, but then they're like second guessing themselves a little bit. So I don't know.
I think COVID definitely affected their plan too. So
yeah, but we could all be wrong too.
Well, and you don't have to wait long. Go watch She-Hulk right now. This last episode has Daredevil.
Shh, I haven't seen it yet.
Well, I've not seen it either, but I know I know he's in there because he was in the trailer for this episode. So
okay,
I can
guys.
go ahead and tell you guys that I just finished watching it and he's not there. So that they do a tease, but he's not there. I'm actually very disappointed about it because I'm just like, we're running out of episodes and Matt Murdock hasn't showed up yet. I mean, they're leaning based on what they did do to tease his future appearance in the show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that means he's actually coming in the next episode.
Right.
But I'm kind of getting bummed out that we've not seen him yet because
the very last episode. It's just how it's going to be. It's just going to be this very last.
To set up his new series. So yeah.
Yeah.
Which we're not going to get for 2 years. It's very sad.
So we're over an hour and a half, and we have so many that we still haven't talked about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw something up, and we're going to say if we're excited about it or not excited about it, and just 1 or 2 sentences. How does that sound?
All right.
That works. We'll continue with MCU because we've been talking about it so much.
Excited about
it. Me too.
Very excited. Wished it was a movie instead of a series, but
I'm hoping they move him into being in movies also.
Yeah, I don't know though. I do hope they do that, but I'm still very excited about just having Daredevil back. I'm just so excited about that. The New World Order.
The announcement that I found interesting was him getting another Falcon sidekick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that name's somewhat familiar, but I don't know him nearly as well as I know Sam as Falcon. So I'm like, okay. And it looked like a real Falcon for a change. I'm like, okay, well, he's got a Falcon on his shoulder. That's cool. So, but I don't know.
I'm not all that excited except about Tim Blake Nelson coming back. Yep. I'm super excited that they're bringing him back. And yeah, that to me was okay. And I'm not a huge Captain America fan. Professor is, you can see. He's wearing the shirt. But I'm not. But I'm super excited that they're bringing him back because that to me is cool. We haven't seen him since 2008, so.
And I'm hoping for old Steve Rogers to show up for it.
That would be
awesome. Even if it's just a little guest appearance.
A little one.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh.
Well, so I don't know about this. I mean, it looks cool. Samuel L. Jackson's going to be in it.
Right.
Who all is? I don't know.
They really didn't, and that's what I'm saying. They didn't give us enough. These are some of the things that they didn't give me enough to get super excited about. Of course, I know Secret Invasion. I know that storyline, so I'm super excited about that because it's a really good storyline. But who all are they going to bring into it? And I don't know.
I'm hopeful that they'll, in keeping along with Daredevil, will bring Elektra back.
Yes.
As a Skrull, and find out that she's actually the one who was causing the problems before, and then reintroduce her again. So that's
Right.
kind of like they did in the comics. Okay, this looks like fun.
This one, it looks like so much fun.
Moon, Moon
Yeah,
Girl,
Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur.
and Devil
look
Dinosaur.
Fantastic.
So I remember the original Devil Dinosaur comics from the 70s with Moon Boy, and I think there were only like 10 in the series or something.
Very short,
But
yeah.
It was very short, but I loved it, and because it was just so bizarre. So I'm actually excited for it. It looks like
and
fun.
I love that they made it animated. I think I love that it's animated. I wish
that fits for Moon Girl a lot. So yeah. Armor
Wars.
Wars.
I clicked the wrong one.
Armor Wars. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. I like.
We will get
as Rhodey, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
We do get Rhodey back.
And I love Don Cheadle. I'm glad they're giving him an opportunity to shine on his own, based on what we know from Secret Invasion, and what we've heard from rumors. He's most likely, currently at the time, the Vice President of the United States. So I'm very curious to see if that's going to continue into Armor Wars, or because let's be honest. Rhodey as the vice president being a superhero at the same time, that's pretty cool. Like, I'm excited for that aspect of it, because for the last several movies, most prominently Iron Man 3, they made the vice president bad guy, a villain.
Right.
So it'd be a nice turnaround, I think, if that's the direction they took there.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
The Bad Batch, I'm super excited about.
You're super excited about that?
Super excited. The first season was amazing. Again, Star Wars animation stuff overall has just kicked it out of the park.
Good. Yeah.
I have seen 0 Star Wars animated anything ever.
The Clone Wars is a good place to start. There's
Tim, who has time? Who has time? There's so much.
Before the dark times. Anyway, yeah. I'm not excited. I'm intrigued.
I'm literally like, it's. I mean, I might really enjoy it when it comes on. It just, and I will watch it because my husband makes me watch everything Star Wars. It's just how the life.
As he should, as a good husband will.
I mean, it's the prequel to the prequel to a prequel.
I know.
We know what happens. So
I know.
I mean,
that's the thing. I just wish they would just tell. It's a galaxy far, far away with hundreds of different species, hundreds of different planets. Like, just tell us a story that we don't know how it ends.
Well, but the character development of his character could be fascinating.
It could, but we know how it ends.
Well, we know that what's going on, what's going to happen in the timeline is going to end. But we don't know how he gets from point A to point B to what happens there. So
true.
That's true. I'm trying to be positive about it. I'm not. I loved the Rogue One, so I'm hopeful I'll look at. Mandalorian 3, yes.
So here's the thing with Mandalorian, and this is what I'm talking about with Andor. Andor, we know it's the same story. It's just a prequel of, like Tim said, prequel of a prequel of a prequel. And so we know how it evolves. With Mandalorian, that's a great way. That's a great storyline that was completely original, set in the same universe, and you still have those similar things, and that's why it worked so well. I feel like they need to do more of those.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I enjoy it.
Yeah. She was very.
Sam Jackson's face.
He's got that look. Spoo's excited about that one. He's,
Never pull out your lightsaber when you're constipated. It's like Jedi training 101.
Okay, the announcement with Ahsoka here with what's his name?
I can't remember his name. I didn't.
That's Prince Caspian.
So Ezra, who's really big in what was the name of the cartoon? Gosh,
Dexter's Laboratory.
No, Slap him. Anyway, Anyway, great cartoon. Ezra is a great character. Seeing him, not only live action, but what happened to him after the end of that series,
because
I'm super excited for him.
He disappears at the end of it.
He disappears.
He disappears.
Along with Grand Moff Tarkin, who
Yes.
I love as a villain. One of my favorite Imperial villains of all time, Grand Moff Tarkin. So
Yeah, I agree with that. So we have some actual non-MCU and non-Star Wars things to talk
yes,
about.
we do. Yes, we do.
So we have Disenchanted. Okay.
I don't know. I like the first one a lot.
So I think it's interesting. I think it could be very good because I love it when they twist something and make it different, and you have Giselle being evil now.
Right.
It looks like, and so
yeah.
I mean, we don't know exactly what is going on, but anytime they can twist something.
Well, she's manipulated. From the trailer, she gets manipulated into.
See, I
and then
love
she kind of
the
likes
first one.
Yeah, I did too.
Love it. So I'm looking forward to it. I did not watch the trailer though, because I wanted to wait until we got closer to it coming out, because that's one of those where I didn't want to be spoiled
See,
too
there
much
you go.
by what the game plan was.
So Keith has some stuff to say. COVID gave us the Eternals.
It did. We were supposed to get Guardians of the Galaxy, so we got the Eternals.
That was not.
Well, the Eternals was not my favorite movie. There was some cool stuff in it.
So the problem I had with the Eternals was we didn't get a chance to care about the characters before you had them all in peril. Like it rushed it too much. You didn't have, and you're trying to, and you tell the backstory over and over again, and it was just not
right.
Which for film, yeah, that's what Tim said too, and yeah. I mean, I'm just happy to have Daredevil back.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's true as well, Keith. But I don't mind Sam as Cap. Like, I don't. I do think that they should have at least featured him a little bit more before he became Captain America. So, Secret Invasion should have been a film.
But my assumption is Secret Invasion is going to lead to Secret Wars. I mean,
or something. Secret something.
Something's going to happen in there.
Yeah.
And we're not going to see, anything special happen with Sam Jackson between then and then.
Right. Yeah. I don't know how I feel. Like, I'm very enthused about Armor Wars. And I think it's just,
I'm not an Iron Man fan anyway. So, Armor Wars, okay. I mean, it'll be good, I'm sure. Looking for what's she looking forward to the music in?
I don't know.
Probably Disenchanted.
Is that what it is, Jamie? Let us know.
So
Thank you for watching, by the way, Jamie. We appreciate that.
We love you. Let's see here.
Um,
Here's some of these.
Yes, I agree. It's gonna rock because that series is amazing.
a wait and see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
A good story seems to be Kathy.
And yes.
And then you get the news of that too, where we're not getting Rogue Squadron.
And Jamie said yes, it was Disenchanted. Tim.
That's awesome.
And Mandalorian 3 is going to
be.
He didn't say anything after that.
I'm trying to think of How I Met Your Mother. Wait for it.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Oh my goodness gracious.
So we've got some more.
Yep. We have another one from my childhood.
So now, interestingly, and I posted about this. This is all over the internet that this is happening. I found no evidence there was any announcement of this.
I didn't see it.
I was about to say I didn't even see this. So
this is all over social media, but not from Disney, nor is there anybody covering it as it's happening. But I think there was a lot of expectations that a new never-ending story would be coming, with especially with all of the fantasy stuff out there. And so people have been talking about it for a month ahead of time, at least. Different people speculating on it. And then that...
See anything official from anybody?
No, there wasn't. I looked at 3 different sites, including the D23 site, to break it down. There was nothing out there. At least I didn't see anything at all confirming it. So I'm not saying it's not going to happen. And as much as Disney likes to remake things, probably going to happen. Not just Disney, but all of Hollywood. But right. I don't think it's happening anytime soon. I included it here because I wanted to talk about that, how that seems to be a false rumor, at least at this moment.
Right. So the Mandalorian season 3 is going to be, depends on if Kathy has hands in season 3.
Well, I think they cut her hands off and her legs and left her to burn.
But this one, we do know is coming.
We do know this one is coming, yes. This one was one of the announcements.
How do you guys feel about this one?
You know, I like the movies.
I did too.
Love the movies, but I really liked the movies. Almost had a little Indiana Jones feel to it, and so it was kind of some fun.
But a little bit more kid-friendly, like...
Right. Yeah. Well, what, a room full of giant snakes isn't kid-friendly? What are you talking about? People getting their faces melted off isn't kid-friendly? I don't know. That was my childhood. I don't know.
It's fine. I watched it. Look at me. I turned out normal. Well, no, I didn't.
Right. Whatever normal is. But no, I think it looks like fun. I'm hoping it's going to be as good as the movies. It's going to keep that same feel. And what's his name from the movies was in it also?
Riley.
Justin Bartha.
Riley. Yes.
Riley. Which I am glad that they brought somebody from the movies. I feel like if they just tried to do it without
Right. I agree.
Homage to the originals, I think it wouldn't have worked.
Well, then you get the feel that it's a continuation.
Yes.
And
I was hoping it was
Jamie,
going to be John Voight.
Yeah, right.
That's what I wanted. I wanted John Voight to kind of be the grandfather of whatever this new society of explorers were.
That would be awesome. I agree.
Here's the thing with it. Are they related to anybody? Like, she talks about her father had this, like, you know, I'm like...
Maybe.
Are they trying to make it Nicolas Cage? But her father's dead, so we know Nicolas Cage, if that's her father, is not showing up in anything.
Right.
Unless it's like a ghost Nicolas Cage, which would be hilarious.
I would watch that.
He shows up as a Ghost Rider, right?
No, I just picture him like walking in and like being so this. You guys know.
I was surprised you didn't lead with this. I kept waiting for you to come here.
It's the last one. I saved the best.
Well, there you go.
Anyone who knows me knows I love Hocus Pocus. I've cosplayed as Mary with a couple friends of mine. I would love to do it again with some other people because they don't cosplay anymore. But
I look great in a blonde wig, just for the record.
Can you jump up and down and go amok?
I can see him doing it. It's in there with his roles. It's up there with Santa Claus and Prince Eric. Right next to it is there. So
yeah.
So I love Hocus Pocus. I think it was one of my favorite. It's one of Halloween is my favorite holiday, and Hocus Pocus is one of those that I have to watch every October, at least twice, probably. Sometimes more than that. Let's face it. I got Lex to love it too, which is great. But we've been teased with this. They're gonna make a sequel. They're gonna make a sequel for like ever. Like since like it came out.
Yeah.
And they've always had like all 3 of them have said, yeah, we're down to make a sequel, but it has to be the right story and we have to have the right timing. And you know, they all did their different projects and stuff. I'm just so glad that we're gonna get a sequel where we learn a little bit more about the Sanderson sisters' youth. From the trailer, it looks like the youth, like they're little and they get the book and how they got the book and that sort of thing. And I'm just super happy about that. I just hope they don't F it up. Listen, I was PG, Professor.
I know. I appreciated that.
So
I knew you were gonna love that comment also when I saw Jamie post that. And when I saw the trailer for this, I thought, oh my gosh, AJ probably just jumped up and down.
When I found out that they were remaking it, I was super excited. And then I saw that, the three were back, but then I saw Billy Bones was back, and I love
Mhm.
Billy. They have a black cat, but it's not Binks. And everybody, I've seen people on social media go, well, why isn't Binks back? Well, Binks died. If you're not familiar with this, Binks died and he went to the afterlife. So he actually got to go be with his real sister. So I'm not so sad that Binks isn't there. I'd be sad if Binks was
Right,
there.
right.
Something went wrong and now he's back. Like, I'm not unhappy about that. But a lot of people don't realize who played Binks. Do you guys know who played Binks?
I don't.
Tim does.
Jason. I always get his name wrong. It's Jason Marsden.
Is that who played Binks?
No, well, that's who voiced Binks. The guy who played the young actor was Timothy McGee from NCIS.
Yes, yeah.
Sean
there
Murphy.
you go.
But
And
people often mess it up and say that McGee was actually the one who voiced him.
no,
Originally, he did voice him, but they didn't like the way he sounded, so they brought in Maximilian Goofy to come in and voice him.
yeah.
So the voice of Max from Goof Troop is also the voice of Binks.
Disney should go ahead and make sure. I mean, they own everything. They should make whatever they like. I'm not unhappy with what they've been making.
I'm not either.
I do agree with Keith. Like, the National Treasure. My only thing with it is it's National Treasure, and they've already gone through American Revolution, and then they went through, like the Native American stuff, with part 2. So we're a very young country in terms of the world. So I'm just trying to figure out how many more like secret things can they?
Well, you can have all sorts of pirate treasure that's hidden.
Yeah, I want to see International Treasure.
Yes, because you could go all kinds of places. Like, I
want to see the spin-off Universe Treasure where they go to space.
Yes.
And find out that George Washington was actually an alien.
Yes.
That's the movie I want to watch.
When you use invisible ink on the back of the Constitution, it says that right here.
Yes.
Where do you think they got invisible ink?
Right, exactly.
George Washington's secret alien stash. It was handed down generation to generation by the Freemasons.
And he's actually Indiana Jones is his descendant. That's exactly how he's able to do it.
And the Freemasons are all aliens.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why they were free.
I was thinking you were going to say that's why they were Masons. They helped build the pyramids.
Well, that may be true too, right? Yeah.
Well, guess what? We hit them all the ones
did.
With the brand on anyway.
Right. And there were some other little things here and there that were announced. There were several little things for Disney Channel and other things that I didn't pull down pictures for just because it was so much that we already did. Here it is. We're 2 hours in. Tim, thank you for joining us for 2 hours, my friend. We appreciate that, man.
So
it was a blast. I like talking to you guys.
We like talking to us too. We can leave Josh at home. No, I'm kidding. We love Josh. Yeah.
Poor Tim. He has to see me way too much, and he even came on here to see me a little bit more.
Well, you're the reason. Probably he gets up in the morning. I know it's the reason I do the show because you're here.
It is the reason I wake up in the morning.
See, that's what I'm saying.
If I don't wake up in the morning, I get a text from AJ. Tim, where are you?
Actually, that's the true statement.
The paper's on fire once again. Where are you?
I usually wait until you're 30 minutes past the time you usually get in, and then I say, Tim, are you okay? And it's not Tim, where are you? It's Tim, are you okay? Because I want to make sure you are okay.
It's true. I appreciate it.
Because you could be mugged in Branson. We know that does happen all the time.
Oh, it's a thing. It's a thing. No.
Great. Here I am ruining all of the... everybody's like, I'm not making my trip to Branson anymore. There's muggings going on, according to GeekyKOOL. I was joking, people.
So,
look at that.
Thank you, Tim, for coming on, and we have a lot of friends that we love and who come on here and help us with this, but they have their own channels, they have their own YouTube, they have their own Facebook, they have all that stuff, and we like to share all of them at the end of each episode. And since Tim is on here and Josh has chimed in with some like comments and stuff from work, we would like to throw this out there. If you guys liked what you heard and you want some more of this and you want some more of the Nerd Informant down there, you guys go check out Nerd Informants on YouTube and Facebook. Tim, do you want to tell people about the exciting thing that they can do with the Nerd Informants this, February or March? March.
Yes, thank you. I kind of forgot about that. Yeah, so the inaugural Be Informed Nerd Informant Cruise is going to be taking place in March. We have partnered up with our friends at Ozark Country Vacations to take a cruise to the Caribbean come the beginning of March. It's going to have some exciting ports. There's going to be some fun activities with the Nerd Informants. You get to spend the week doing some activities with us, and then you'll also have time to go out and do stuff on your own. This is an inaugural event. We've never tried anything like this. The response has been decently good so far. The first 20 cabins who sign up, they actually get our special Nerd Informant price. Nice. After that, there's going to be a change in price, so you definitely want to jump on board and get one of those initial 20 cabins that we've got set up. We're only going to be having the setup for the sale for the next couple of months because they're going to have to set it in stone, so they'll book the entire cruise. But so definitely jump on board that because we're going to have some fun. I've never got to take a cruise before, so I'm looking forward to it. But, just the idea of Josh and I taking a vacation, we were talking about it, and we were just like, oh, it'd be great. We go on vacation. It's going to be like one of our nerd ventures. And then the idea just came around that, we should go on vacation, but take our community with us because we're going to show them what we were doing anyway, so might as well just have them along to experience it with us.
That's amazing.
So that's kind of the mindset behind the Nerd Informant Cruise, and we are looking forward to having all of our friends and family and the community of Nerd Informants to just join us on that. So you can visit our Facebook page for additional details on that, and call and make your reservations today because you're not going to regret it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Operators are standing by.
But
yeah,
my boss has told me I cannot because wait.
Weird how that works. I don't know. That's great.
Unfortunately, your boss will be on the cruise.
Yes, he's going.
So, details.
Well, I do want to announce that AJ and I will be having a rowboat on Saturday. You can join up and ride in our rowboat experience.
That's where we are compared to the Nerd Informants. So we love them. It's a little jealous, but no, we're
having a cruise. We got a rowboat.
But here's the thing, guys. The Nerd Informants bring you movie reviews. They bring you like video game stuff. They bring you cruises. Who knew? And all kinds of pop culture and entertainment news. Josh does all kinds of like interviews with some really big celebrities. Tim does some interviews with some really big celebrities. They're so amazing. And they created a page for you, the nerd community, to share things that you like, or if you find a funny meme or if you have a question about something, you can go post it on Nerd Informants Beyond. Check that out. Go hit like and join that page because it's just a great community of nerds and geeks from around the world. Right, Tim?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. We've got fans literally who came to us early on who were just like, man, can you share this for us, or can you share that on our Nerd Informant page? And it just gotten us thinking, we need a place where nerds can hang out with each other, but also a place where they can self-promote and interact with other nerds and let other nerds know what they're doing. So whether you are another nerd media site, whether you're doing movie reviews, whether you're you got a Comic-Con coming up or a nerdy event that you want to invite people to, or if you're just wanting to visit with some other nerds and get some time to have a friendly debate about, who's the better actor, that played the Hulk, Edward Norton or Mark Ruffalo, or if you want to really go far back and say Lou Ferrigno. I mean, that healthy debate and discussion is what Nerd Informants Beyond is all about, as well as self-promotion. So it's a group page, so all you got to do is join the group, and you're in, and you can have some fun with us. We'll post a lot of stuff on there just to have some interaction with the community, but it's a growing community of over 2,000 nerds.
That's amazing.
So
That's awesome.
It's pretty awesome. And
kind to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are Nerd Informants is very family friendly. We want to keep it that way. We've worked very diligently to make sure that we've stayed family friendly, because I got to tell you guys, there's nothing quite like the feeling of having a little kid come up to you and tell you that they like watching your videos and how much you inspired them to like this or that, or how they didn't know who Miles Morales was, but they, after seeing your video, they discovered who Miles was, and are all about this newer updated version of Spider-Man, and that there's not just Peter Parker, that there's other Spider-Man variants out there, and Miles just happens to be one of the coolest ones, I think.
He is. Him and Ben Riley.
And so to have that reaction from a kid, Josh and I did not set out by any means to try to inspire anybody or anything, but if we can share and pass along our nerdy lives to others, and motivate them to join in and become a nerd, or find a new thing that they're passionate about, especially if it's a fandom, then we've done our job. That's what Nerd Informants is all about, is bringing the nerdy news to folks who want it or didn't know that they wanted it, but are glad they found it.
Right.
Well, that is just great. And we do the same thing. We try to keep things, PG. Once in a while, things will slip out of my mouth, but I try really hard.
It's
Professor doesn't get on to me if it's like once every 6 months. It's okay. but we do have some friends who aren't quite as PG as us, but they're so knowledgeable and they're entertaining. And so be sure to go over and check them out. And that is Keith and Gary over at Pop Culture Minefield on YouTube and Facebook. If you have little ones around, put the headphones on and listen, because if you don't want them to pick up some like bad words, but you will learn so much, and it is entertaining, but it's more for, your older teenagers or adults to listen to, because the language is a little extreme. But it's hilarious to watch. Gary crack Keith up is like my favorite thing on their videos, because Keith will just be like, and he just cracks. You watch him slowly crack into this laughing, like it's amazing. So go over and check them out. Now, when you're over on these YouTube channels and Facebook, on all of these friends of ours that we're mentioning, please hit subscribe, hit like, comment, share. We love it when people comment on our stuff, and I know they do too. Now, Keith also has his own show, and that is Keith Chimes In over on the Fat Steven Seagal Show on YouTube, Mondays at 3. And then Pop Culture Minefield, they have so many shows, I can't mention them all. They keep changing.
Coffee with Gary.
Saturday morning thing.
It's a Saturday morning thing, but there's a daily Coffee with Gary where he will talk until his coffee's gone, and then the show's over. So yeah. I watched him do one about Bigfoot and cryptids and aliens the other day. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We have our OzPod gals over from OzCon, and they're on Facebook. They do lives, not every week, but they do lives, or they do some videos. And
they did live until the Nerd Informants broke them.
Because
they asked us to. For the record, it was the last time they had us on. So
yeah, they were going to have us on, but they got scared away after that.
They thought we were going to make them.
Here, Take some lava and stick it in your mouth. Is that hot? Now recite the alphabet.
Okay, just so everyone knows, the Nerd Informants didn't actually do anything bad to them, but they had a hot food contest thing, tasting things, and the Nerd Informants were there to ask them questions while they were trying to, like, breathe and everything.
This was 110% Brie and Amber's own idea. I think the video is still up on their page. It's beautiful. Yeah. It's hilarious. I've never felt worse and great at the same time in my life. It was horrible to watch them go through this, but it was by far the funniest thing I've ever seen. Because these girls underwent some serious heat challenges, and they have my utmost respect for it. But they asked us to be there to moderate while they were trying to kill you. You know, the most difficult thing you're going to see Josh and I do is try to get out of bed in the morning and stretch out.
You guys video that too?
Yeah, I mean, like,
jeez, wow, you guys are everywhere.
They are. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. No, but go check them out. Hit like on their Facebook page. Also, while you're out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, I think he might have TikTok now. I have no idea, and he's my husband, so we know where he's all at. But the Scallywag himself over at Scallywag Productions, go check out all their stuff. He has a video. It's not new, but he's planning on doing some newer videos. He's just working 2 jobs right now, and so timing is not something that we have. But he has a whole catalog of videos from the past that he's done. That there's some things that we've done together. There's things that he and Dee did called The Show. They have like a year and a half of every day they did videos. So there is enough content over there to watch. And on Instagram and Facebook, he'll post. See the collectibles behind me? He'll post a collectible of the day, all from his collection, my collection, some from Tim's collection. So be sure to go check him out. And then there's us. And there's us. We have Facebook. We have YouTube. You're watching us on one of those things. But we also have our own website. It's called GeekyKOOL.com, where you can find, I don't think he's out there, but as my husband says, if you're out on the World Wide Web, you might as well go out and check out GeekyKOOL.com, your one-stop shop for all things nerd. Now, he does it way better than I do, but we do have trailers, articles, content from all kinds of contributors and stuff. We are a kid-friendly website, and so you can feel free to let your kids check things out. There's not going to be anything inappropriate on the website for them, but just check out our website and check out our Facebook page. We are trying to get some more likes on our Facebook page. I think I'm going to do a special giveaway when we get to our 100th episode, and maybe some like artwork.
Oh, there we go. I've got some artwork on my wall, in fact, in here from Miss AJ. So
it's a thing I do. It's a thing I do. It's fine.
It's an awesome thing you do.
I'm going to try to get, we have 5 comments. I'm going to post them real fast before we say goodnight, because I don't want anybody to think we're not paying attention.
Right. Well, and as we do that, I'll announce next week we are having, oh gosh, what's the name? I'm forgetting it. I'm blanking on it.
Nate's group. They're
what? Yeah, Nate's group. Kaiju, something Kaiju. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, Nate. I'm screwing it up already. I will get it right.
So it's Nate Howard from Mammoth Press, and part of a group of artists, and they're doing some great things. And we're going to have them, and it's Kaiju something. So we will get the name on our website and on our Facebook correctly. We promise. But they're going to be here with us on Tuesday.
They are. I'm real excited to have them. A great group of amazing artists, and we've got such great friends that do all sorts of cool stuff, and we want to make sure to highlight them anytime we get a chance. Yeah. And I know that they're doing a lot of cool stuff that people may not know about. So excited to get them on, to be able to talk about what's going on, talk about their art, and talk about, just kind of life in general. So that'll be next week. It should be Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Central Time next week, so tune in for that. And is there anything else? Did you get all the comments up, AJ?
I did get all the comments.
You're amazing. Look at that. I keep her around because she does all the hard work, and I just kind of come in and swoop in and say stuff at the beginning and at the end and try to be a little funny in the middle. So
I try to keep everything on track. Sometimes
you do. Right, it is, because we're already 2 hours and 15 minutes in. So,
Yes.
But I knew it was going to be a long one. Tim, again, thank you for joining us, my friend.
No,
I do
thank you for
appreciate
having me
you.
anytime.
Always love you guys, you and Josh both. So you guys are always welcome here, even though you may be the distinguished competition. We do love you. So, all right.
He's in Josh about that. Tim's my favorite.
Well, that's why he comes on and Josh doesn't get to. So.
No. Josh is awesome. Josh is amazing.
Josh is.
It's okay. Josh. Most people prefer Josh over Tim, so I'm happy to have at least one fan.
You have always been my favorite. I told you that at the very beginning.
That was even before she knew me. She just walked up. You're my favorite.
My favorite.
Well, hey, little boy.
After I let go of the restraining order, it's been fun.
And then you hired.
Especially working together, it kind of makes it difficult to have the restraining order. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a thing.
It
What
does.
would you do without me, Tim?
Cry. A lot.
I bet so. All right, guys, that's all we've got for you tonight. Thank you for joining us. Check us out next Tuesday night. And until then, stay geeky.